Okay, so what we've done here is, this is example number 4. And in your laboratory or your private practice, you might very well come across a situation like this. There are angled screw canals. You can see one of the implants is placed very far towards the back. And it's, how do we deal with situations like that? You can imagine if you were to just create a hybrid here, if you're printing it, or zirconia, the very back implant, a part there that attaches, is prone to breakage. This is why the hybrid metal insert in titanium or PEEK or whatever stronger material you use will sustain that the weight that is borne on that very back middle implant.
So we can't split that up into a section. We need this to be nice and strong. This ideally, this entire back piece should be in metal.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is, like I said, this is example 4. And for those who are just joining, I think we are a little bit time limited, so we're going to run through this hybrid and iBar as thoroughly as possible. And I am recording the session, so you'll get this video sent to you later on. Likewise, if you've got any questions, this is the perfect opportunity to ask if something's not very clear. So Michael has imported this example 4. You'll see that it's not sitting in the center of Blender. Now, this can cause issues. And the first thing we're going to do is, in the model designer, you select the hybrid and you call it, you push enter target. And what that does, it creates the coding name for this to work, because at the moment it's just an object sitting inside Blender. Blender has no idea what it is. So we name it just enter target. And now Michael's going to put 4 points down. So the cursor is placed first, shift and right click. With shift D, he's just duplicating those points.
We want to have it in a shape like this so that Blender can decide where the midpoint is, and then it can plonk it over here in the center of Blender.
Yeah, that's the theory behind it, and this is why we align it first. So using the model designer, and 4 points go down, not 5, not 3, it's got to be 4. And then just press align and it's going to center it. And now
if your hybrid comes out this way around, it's because it's taken the shortest route. You can flick it over the axis. You can see the y-axis over here. We need to turn it around on the y-axis. So this is how it should be looking.
So when you start making your hybrid, make sure the incisal edges go upwards and the implant interfaces are downwards. So that's very, very important.
Now we can start.
Now we're ready to go into the iBar module. Okay.
Actually, no. What I'll do is I'll go back into the model designer. I'll just quickly give it an inspection in the transparent mode, which is over here. The top one over here toggles transparent in and out. I can see this is a very difficult one. Here we've got a lot of space as far as a bar is concerned. On the other side, we've got maybe a little bit less space. I'll just show you over here. Over here, we don't have that much space. We need to think about the context like we've discussed earlier. And if that is an issue, we're going to go to the smoothing, sculpt smooth. I am in transparent mode, which is okay. I can leave it in transparent mode just for you to see what is actually happening. If I smooth over here, what it means, it creates a better internal cavity for us to actually create a bar. So here I've smoothed and it's made an island here. So it's detached itself from there. At no time should you smooth the where the holes are. Okay, so this is looking quite good. I'll just give this one a bit smooth as well here.
Yeah, so we're taking the intersections of the teeth away. And in so doing, we're making more space on the inside of the hybrid.
Yeah. So in order to clean that one little piece, that island away, as you see here, I'm going to go tab, select any vertice from there, and I'm going to click on clean, and then that will then disappear.
Okay, there's a bit of a
It's gone.
zoom delay. Okay, just slowly. All right, so that takes that
All right.
away.
So this is all in preparation of making a bar on the inside. Next, we're going to go to the iBar, and we're going to start and name the hybrid, which will then turn color to acknowledge that now we can start the project. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create our tubes. Okay, so this is like, as we've discussed. Okay. So here, these last few don't actually need tubes because we're actually not going to be involving them, but as a safekeeping, we're just going to make some tubes. Select it, shift right click to place your cursor, use the S key if you have to scale it down. Okay, like that. Sometimes what I do is I would go into edit mode, select a vertex, and then Blender rotates around that vertex. Notice how it stays in the center of Blender, that vertex. It makes it easier for me to rotate and view it from the top down. Okay, so something like that. It's just one thing that you can do. Okay, and here's the last one. Okay. Okay, now that it is finished, we're going to look at it, and I'm going to just briefly shift this one up a little bit like that, because I want to make sure this is not too low, because otherwise it doesn't protect that hole. I'm also going to save my file, and it's a good thing to save your file before you start, and then you can, after that you've saved your file, you can click on these create saving points in your folder that you can always refer back to. Wolf, have you got anything to say about these tubes thus far?
No, I think it's quite clear. So check that the vertical height is within the hybrid, so it's not too far down.
You can select the ghost feature, but when these implant holes are not angled, then usually we don't even need to engage in this one. Next, I'm going to select all of these in one go, like that. I'm going to go edit, and we're going to be moving these vertices up. Now I know this internal bar is not even going to go even close to these bottom sections of these multi-unit abutments. So these won't really take any play in this.
Why is
As
that?
you'll
Because
see.
your plan is to have that whole part in metal, so it's not going to
Yeah,
divide the bar into in the hybrid.
exactly. We're not recreating the screw channel with a cone in order to do this, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've set these. Then I'm going to take all of these in one hit, shift left click to select all of them.
You can do them
Control,
individually too, can't you?
you can, of course you can. If you forget which shortcut key that is, at the bottom, this stays for 100 seconds. It says Control A on your keyboard on the tooltips.
There's one more.
Control A. Yeah, okay, Control A. Move your mouse. How much we move it is we want to have it more or less parallel to our multi-unit. Okay, so here we can see it's more or less parallel. Okay, edit tubes to get out of it, or you can just click the tab sign. With them all selected, click on Make Cones. Now we're going to select and we're going to create mask protection, which means we are able to smooth this any way we like, and we don't have to care about the inside screw holes because these are protected now. To demonstrate how that works, I'm going to just click on Smooth. Okay, right click to set the radius, the strength. You can set the strength over here, how aggressive it's going to cut. So here you can see as I'm smoothing, the black bits stay protected. So I don't have to worry about this. This gives me a good opportunity to get rid of any concave surfaces on my hybrid, and I can make the surface a little bit better. Here, there's a clear concavity over here, and mostly we've been taught that we don't want any concave areas on the tissue if we can avoid those. Okay, exit. If we want to make this a little bit larger and add material to it, we're going to engage in this section over here where it says select and paint on layer. Now I'm having a quick look and I may think, oh well, maybe this is a little bit too thin. So if that's the case, we're going to click on this one, but I'm going to be designing my hybrid, my iBar, that it comes over the top of this. So, so I'm not going to be bothered with these sections over here. Okay, we're not going to cut them. We need strength. All right, so we've done all of that. I'm going to just save tube and cones. Okay, we're going to head to the next section and
By
we're
the
going to
way,
start
if you control and left click on the menu, it will downscale the menu. So you're only working with one menu.
Yeah.
So control and left click.
Hover over this bar, control, keep the control down and click. Okay. Shift right click to place the cursor. If you don't know about these shortcut keys, Wolfgang, can you explain where we can download them?
In the Model Designer module, there's a red folder, PDF, and it says shortcut keys. So you can just download those. Fortunately, there aren't many to know, and most of them are fairly intuitive, like R for rotate, G for grab.
All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go draw, and then we're going to extrude this outwards. Here, what I've decided to do is I'm going to go over the top of it, and we're going to weave in and out of these. So here, we're going to take that over the top, and this one, I'm going to decide to go underneath it. Okay, and we're going to go all the way, gentle curves, nothing too angled. Okay, so I'm using the E left click. So E, move your mouse, left click. E, move your mouse, left click. If you don't want to do it, the advantage of doing this is I can go and change it as I'm designing. If I engage in this one and extrude, I can left click, but I cannot go back. Can you see what happens? Okay, because we are extruding out.
You'd have to
If you want
push
to change
edit.
it, you can click edit and you can change it. Okay, so here, select that one, extrude, and basically left click around it. Okay, now you don't have to see the cones, but they give you a good idea where they are. You can hide them if you want to. Okay, we're going to go around this one. When you're finished, you're going to click on the fuse button where it says fuse. Okay, so here what I want you to understand as well is the dimension of the thickness of it. So in transparent mode, we can see this bar is going to be quite thin if you look from this side to that side. Okay, great. Then we're going to click on Make Basic Design. Okay, we're looking at it from the top as we've discussed. Here it's ridiculously thin, but if I move this outwards like this, I'm trying to get the silhouette of my hybrid to go inside. You can barely see it like that because we want to extrude it towards a long axis of the front teeth. Okay, so this is what it looks like. The blue line is on the outside. The orange line is on the inside. If you click anywhere here and you lose that selection, don't worry about it because the next script is going to take care of it. If you, by mistake, move the scene outwards and now you are disorientated, just click on the tilde key and look at it from the top sign. Alternatively, you can click on the Z key, the Z up here, and that will then do the same thing. But you need to make sure that the arch is in the shape of a U. If it's the other way around, you are incorrect. Okay. Then, once tilted, we're going to then extrude this design. Okay, we're looking at from the front side. You can tell because we are here on the y-axis. Familiarize yourself which axis is which. Okay, X is always running from the left to the right. I'm going to look at it from the right-hand side. I'm going to use my arrow key and I'm going to use the R on my keyboard to rotate it a little bit like this. Okay. Wolfgang, have you got anything that you want to pick up on this?
No,
Or is
it's
that
all
okay?
good. There's a bit of
Okay.
a delay, but
Yeah.
you're all good to go.
You will notice now that half of my cutter, my design has disappeared. And this is because it is too low. Okay, so the lower we go, you're actually cutting into it. Okay. And of course, you can see over here where the perimeter of the line is. As soon as we go below that or touch it, we got a Boolean cut failure. So we always have to make sure the top of it is existent. Okay. Here as well, we are mighty close over here. So I'll just pull it up a little bit. We can change that after we've cut it. Then I'm going to click on cut the design. And this is what we have at the moment. And then we can angle it a little bit. So here, angle the bar. Yeah, something like that. Over here, it's extruding out of the bar, which is okay. We can deal with it. And over here, it's also extruding. So what I'll do is I'll take this down a little bit and we're going to angle this inwards more. Okay, I've angled it too far inwards. You can see because it has conked out over here on that side. You can click the relax. Okay, the relax, I think maybe I've done it too far because here we can see over here. So I'll just go Control Z backwards to make sure that this bar is not too close over here. Okay, if you want to edit the top of it, you can click on here, edit top of the bar, and you can move this bar around a little bit. Okay, so this looks a little bit strange, but I think it should be okay.
Oh, there's an opening, Michael, over there on
Where?
the ribbon.
Yeah, I can see. I'll just go back a few steps. Let's go back a few steps here. So always be vigilant. If you do see something that's out of the norm and you will get familiar with it, then just go back a few steps and then go cut. Control Z is to go back. Okay, let's just do this. Okay, so as I've said, this is not an easy one to do at all. We'll angle that in a little bit like that. maybe a little bit edit the top. Yeah, you see how this has been affected here. This is because it's too low. It's been cut too low. Okay, let's try that. Okay, I'm just going to cut this design. Yeah, that's looking way better.
Yeah, so just inspect your mesh.
Yeah. Here it's gone too far. Yeah, like that. All right, so we're going to leave it to something like that. Okay, very difficult case, but it is manageable, and let's try and do. Okay, now I've actually picked one of the most difficult ones that we've got here. All right, from here on, what we're going to do is we're going to remesh this into a cutter. Okay, so remesh into cutter. If you've got an 8 gigabyte graphic card, it is recommended. If you've got a 4 gigabyte graphic card, it's not, it'll be a bit too slow for Blender. Excellent. What I can see is I can see a bit of mesh over here and a bit of mesh over there. We need to edit it. Also, we can see a little bit of mesh sticking out of there. We're going to go to the cutter, and we're going to click on not remesh. We're going to click on edit cutter. Okay. I'm going to be selecting these little bits and pieces, and from the top view, because I'm grabbing this from the top view with my proportional editing on, we're going to move that in. If your proportional editing is too big, you may drag it onto the other side, creating an undercut. You don't want to do that. And here what I'll do is I'll just grab it down a little bit as well, like that.
So you can roll the middle mouse wheel to make that zone larger or smaller.
Okay, so just be a bit generous with your with pulling it, because you want to create enough space on the inside. Always do it from the top and not from anywhere else. You can see I always try and go perpendicular to where I want to grab the mesh. We'll take this down a little bit. So look for your spots here. This is part of the screw channel. You're going to leave that alone. So that's looking quite good. Hey, Wolf, what do you think?
Yes.
Okay, here I'm having a look at, okay, so this is my screw channel. Pull that down a little bit. Okay, you can see the geometry of my tooth on the inside. Take that. Okay, so it's looking really nice. Here's still a little bit. Take this one. Grab that in a little bit like that. Now you may have the cross-section add-on. I don't know if you have, but this can help you immensely if you do have it, which is a separate add-on that we have. The shortcut key of invoking the cross-section add-on is Alt X. Okay, so I'm going to go Alt X, and that didn't do it. I've pressed Alt A, so Alt X. Even I get it wrong sometimes. Okay. Now this has a grid, like you can see, and this grid you can place that using the G key. You grab it and you're placing it where you want it to be. And then what we can do is we can see the cross section of this iBar. Now the beauty of this is we can work inside of this cross section. So for example, I'm going to select this one. I'm going to go tab. I'll just use the C key to select a few like that. And then I'm going to use the G key, and then we can manipulate this with this cross-section tool. And this will help you a great deal as well. Okay, to get out of the cross-section, all you need to do is click on the escape key, and then it's gone. Like here, for example, I want to move this down a little bit. So here, using the G key, move it down. Inspect your geometry. You can see here your interproximal contact. And this is why we have, earlier on, we've sculpted, smoothed the molar. Here, we can see the geometry. If you leave this, if you leave it, you will have a cut of your top geometry into your iBar, and you don't want that. So you want to make sure that does not happen. Okay. So just give a good inspection.
And
Here we
smoothing
can see,
follows then.
yeah, here we can see the geometry is intersecting with my gray geometry. Yeah. So I'm just going to move that down because I don't want that to be cut. So I think this is looking okay now. Excellent. Okay. Make sure your cutter is on the outside. In most cases, it will be on the outside. Here we've got a bit of a patch. Don't worry about it because we're going to fix the outside
With the
height
safety zone.
with the safety zone. So here I'm going to go back object mode, and I'm going to go smooth cutter. Remember always to save your files, very important. Otherwise you're going to be losing a lot of hard work. Okay, and then we're going to smooth it. To set the aggressiveness of it, you can set the strength, or you can set it over here. If I put it on 4, you can see it's way rougher than it was beforehand. Okay. Pay attention also to the fact that your milling burrs may not get into certain areas with zirconia. It's not such a big problem because zirconia we mill bigger and then it'll shrink anyway. So just get rid of any sharp edges that you can see, that you can spot. Okay, that's looking quite good. You'll notice that none of the actual, well, none of the cones have been used in this one, have they, Wolfgang? Because we don't, yeah, maybe here a little bit on this side.
Yeah, it doesn't
Maybe
show
a little
through.
bit. Because it's not a shallow bar.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the
excellent.
cones are internal.
Cones are internal, they've disappeared actually. Next thing, we're going to adjust safety zone. Okay, there's quite a lot that's going on over here. The one thing that I always need you to check is that none of the safety zone goes over your hole. If it does, you're going to click on it. You're going to first accept the zone, and then you can edit the zone. Just to recap, if I want to edit the zone, I'll select it, go edit zone. I'll show you in cross-section what's going to happen. It is going to take both zone and the cutter. Okay. Okay, so it's quite evident that we need to add material over here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to correct the thickness of the hybrid.
So essentially that will merge that 0.7 safety zone onto the hybrid. Is that correct?
Yeah, minus the tube, because it's going to, otherwise the holes will be filled. So if you inspect your holes and you see there's something wrong with the geometry of your holes, that means that your tube has not been done correctly, your blue tubes in the beginning. So here we go. It's added a little bit here and over there, a little bit over there as well. Last step, we're going to adjust the cement space. You're going to have to decide how much you want to thicken this, and we're going to then click on Separate Hybrid. Okay, let's have a look. This is a moment of truth. And we've got our bar. And this. Okay, now you may be in a situation where you want to fill one of these holes up. If that is the case, you're going to go close screw holes. You're going to click your select hybrid to start. You cannot fill the bar underneath. You can only fill the hybrid. You're going to select which hole you want to fill, and you're going to select your tube and block the hole. So this does quite a lot of things in the background. You can fill more holes in one go. So you don't have to do one at a time. You can do more if you need to. All right, so here it's filled, it's patched up. You may wonder what it looks like on the inside of it. And we've got a nice filling over here. So it's just been filled like that. And then of course, on the top side, you would have to still click on smooth. You'd set your radius accordingly, smooth it up, and you've got it blocked up. Okay, and I think that's about it.
Excellent.